And I will tell you, Catherine and I spent a week in the hallway of a storage unit in Saugerties. And she had a storage unit, she had several actually, that were absolutely filled to the ceiling with slides and prints and all kinds of pictures. We went through, I think conservatively, 50,000 photographs to cull the ones that you saw on the screen today. The whole four of us stuff we uncovered, all of those great pictures. Plus, John's house, the interior of his house is just full of significant photographs. And so I went through and I said, John, I'm taking this one, taking this one, taking this one. And then I photographed them through the glass. I had to do it at night so that the reflection was and black out everything. And I didn't want to take the photographs out of the glass, but I did that, and that's a lot of the photographs that were made here. But we worked really, really hard to find those, and we were so blessed that we had all these photographs to choose from. So, thanks, Catherine. Your turn.
So are we supposed to create questions or?
Say that first, then we'll do.
So anyway, I was really afraid of this. I was really afraid of this. All I could think of is, this isn't gonna work out. Something about this isn't gonna work out because you know, Chris, about the spoonful curse. Because it's a real thing. It's a real thing.
Well, I will tell you this. When the projector was still not working,
That's right.
30 minutes before the show today.
Yeah. Perfect example.
Yeah, I was nervous, and I was saying, well, what are we going to tell these people? But it did work out.
I think it worked out okay.
So, if we have any questions, we're going to give you a microphone so everybody can hear what you're saying. Just raise your hand. We got one right here.
One back there.
And you want to stand up so they can see it?
Good afternoon. Mr. Sebastian, so you made the comment earlier that you weren't sure that it was going to work out, but when did you know that it was?
I guess when the movie ended.
Another question?
Yeah? Oh, that works, okay. I just want to, I do have a question, but I want to say, first of all, as a film, great storytelling. Thank you.
Thank you.
It could have been a mishmash, but it was really good. And maybe you want to reflect a little bit about how you came to the structure of it, as if you said you have lots of material.
Boy, you want to handle this one? I was
okay.
sort of a bystander in a lot of this one.
So the first rough cut probably ran close to 4 hours. And we've been whittling for about a year, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, there were things that we had to part with for general length that we might have wanted to keep in general. But again, we were trying to tighten the narrative and to keep it moving because there's a lot of material. We're covering John's career, which is 60 plus years, and there's a lot of highlights. I did want to spend a lot of time on his solo work because I think it's incredible. And those obviously we spent a lot of time with the Tarzana Kid. I think it's one of his best records. It's just a brilliant record, brilliant song. The Four of Us is a brilliant album.
Thank you, Eric Jacobs.
Yeah. The obviously I came on board in the jug band era And we made a movie, the three of us together, about the history of jug band music called Chasing Gus's Ghost, which we did 20 years ago.
That was 2007, I think, right?
We were supposed to film a concert in Germantown, Pennsylvania, and then throw up some pictures of the old jug band people like Gus Cannon, etc. But we ended up going to Japan, Sweden, and it turned out to be quite a time. And I think all of that was a
Todd
very,
will follow
very
the story
fun-
wherever
yeah.
it goes.
Yes, but I try to follow the story. I come into these things without any preconceived notion. I'm a huge fan, obviously, and we've become good friends over the years, but I just follow it where it goes. I learned that from jug band people.
Well, I would like to thank, once we had a cut, it was still, at that point, it was 2 hours and 36 minutes long, I think. And I started farming it out to people I trusted. David Robb, my good friend Mark Malucci in Northampton, and most importantly, to my son, who is a professional in the film industry in Australia. He does more technical stuff, he's his client's Netflix now, but anyway. And the comments that I got from people, like what was important and when wasn't, the things that they liked. And I found that we had established a lot of background history. For instance, Stephen Still's background history we had in there. We had a history of the Jim Kweskin drug band. But what we decided was that if it didn't propel John's story, then we cut it out. And the other thing that I did was, I loved the music so much that I had full versions of these songs, almost all of them, like, 3.5, 4 minute versions of this stuff. And I went through and I slashed, and I cut them all down to at least half, and some of them were even a third of the length. But I tried to cut them in a way that still made musical sense. Like a good example of that was Nashville Cats, where there's no verses until the end of the song, right? And then I did the little lyric thing underneath that, and it still hangs together like a regular song, I think.
Yes, indeed. No.
So that's how we got the thing done. Another?
Yes, sir, right here.
I think that, if I remember correctly, the name Loving Spoonful was taken from a line of a John Hurt song, was that correct?
Yes.
Would you go through the thought process or conversations that you had to use that as the name of the group?
To come up with the name?
Well,
So the sequence was something like this, and I can't take credit. Our wonderful jug and wash tub player, Fritz Richmond, who was, of course, a member of the Jim Kweskin band, which really woke everybody up to jug band music. This was an amazing thing.
But so
Fritz?
Fritz came up and said
So
you should be the spoonful?
So the sequence went something like this. Me and Zolly were hanging out in the village, and there was a moment when the Kweskin.
The Electro Records moving part or something?
So, well,
Yeah.
yeah, that was an original part of it, yeah.
Yeah, I think John went up to Fritz and said, we're doing this band, it's kind of like, Chuck Berry meets Mississippi John Hurt. And in the song Coffee Blues, which the three of them played at the beginning, I Love My Baby by the Lovin' Spoonful is the line where it came from. Now, John Hurt did always have a cup of Maxwell House coffee with him on the stage, so he said, although we determined it was scotch at some point. But when we step down, if anybody wants to know exactly what he meant by that loving spoonful, we'll tell you. Some people thought it was a drug reference, I think.
It was the fame, it was really the fashionable idea at that time. So, I mean,
But it wasn't.
I was kind of going, we can work with that. Yeah.
Any other questions?
John,
There's one
yeah,
here.
I got a question. John,
Yeah.
how much longer am I gonna have a job?
Roscoe, as long as you want one, pal. That's good, yeah.
Hi, so I found the part about your father pretty fascinating. I didn't know there was harmonica virtuosos. So was that the first instrument you learned? I mean, your father taught you harmonica?
Well, you know, it's funny because my dad was always very conscious of not creating a situation where a kid has to follow some path.
So you weren't forced.
And he had, as a, you know, he was magna cum laude from Haverford, so he had a lot of friends that were lawyers. And these lawyers, what a nice woman.
Don't point her in.
She really looks good too. So. What? Okay.
There really weren't a lot of classical harmonica players. He was somewhat of an anomaly, was he not?
So,
Use your mic, John.
the, yeah, what Dad did was gonna be a really difficult path. And it was just a wonderful thing that he was already such a virtuoso, as to have been playing in these various harmonica bands as the soloist. And it was an amazing thing to see this progression, because I was sort of in it because I could go to the now wait a minute. Shoot. It's not coming to me.
I have a question. I just want to congratulate you on such a joyous film about music. And you see so much about music and musical stars, rock stars and stuff that are often tragic. But this really stuck to the music and your career, John Sebastian, and Chris and Todd. How did you come to that decision to really focus on the music? And and congratulations, it's just a fantastic film.
Thank you. Well, first and foremost, for me, I was a fan of The Lovin' Spoonful. But The Lovin' Spoonful, I didn't know about all the old records, brought me into that. When we made the Jug Band film, which I met John at Kent State doing a concert 25, 30 years ago, and he did a whole symposium on jug band music. And I go, I have every one of these Spoonful records. Why don't I know much about this jug band stuff? And I looked it up. This was kind of pre-internet, and it was always like a footnote. And so I went down that hole, really went down there, and began to see that The Lovin' Spoonful, and Rebecca Babcock is here, who was in the film at the beginning, who teaches at the University of Texas. She's been working on some scholarly work on the American music through The Lovin' Spoonful, because they brought all this stuff back to me. And that's how I learned about Mississippi John Hurt, Gus Cannon, the Memphis Jug Band, and all of these things are so wonderful. And that stuff is pretty joyous. And we're living in a very, very, very dark time, in my opinion. And I feel that The Lovin' Spoonful and a lot of the music that inspired The Lovin' Spoonful, which is why we named the film what it is, that I'll paint rainbows over your blues, that, you know, John and the work he's contributed to our society is happy. It is rainbow. And I think we maybe need it now more than ever, and obviously I want young people to see this. All kids know these songs because they've been covered by, you know, groups, do you believe in magic and all this stuff, but I really think it's a time to pause and not only to celebrate these contributions, but to really enlighten other people. And that's what I hope people do. I hope they see it and go, oh my God, I gotta get the Tarzana Kid. I wanna get some of these jug band records and go through that. I think we need it now.
I have a question.
I really enjoyed that documentary. It was really well done, so thanks. Wow. Now I have a question about creativity, John. We just saw a lifetime of creative output, and that's really got me thinking here. I'm just wondering about the creative process from the time when you're writing all those hits with the Loving Spoonful to writing the Care Bear Countdown, which just gotta say I love that song, I grew up with it. And you know, years later realized, oh, that's the guy from the Loving Spoonful? That's John Sebastian? Oh, wait, that's the guy who did Welcome Back? Oh man. So all these shows I watched as a kid on the CBC or CTV in Canada, really like boom. But then to your, you know, what you're doing now, is the songwriting process similar? Does it change from when you're writing hits to now? Or?
Look, the approval that you get when you happen to write some 3-minute thing that becomes well known, it changes you. Now, you want that feeling again. And that is really the whole reason that any of this happens, is because you start with, oh my God, this 3-minute thing got on the air, and then all of a sudden you go, we want the next one now, please. And could you hurry it? Let's hurry it up a little. Thank you.
What did you think of the song at the end of the movie? Man, that's I wrote this little sentence here.
It probably seems obvious to you now, but how did John and Catherine end up in Woodstock?
Well, let's see. Okay, it starts off that I turn up this hot chick in Los Angeles, okay? And like I said in the movie, she's funny. That's the death knell. Yeah, that's the end of my independence. I watch it fade away as I'm looking at this woman. So yeah, that was the way that happened.
It was actually our friendship with Albert that sort of brought us here, though.
Yeah, indeed. Albert, for some reason, was perfectly okay with me not being one of his guys. I never had him actually manage me or anything like that. He gave good advice to Bob Cavallo. That was a wonderful thing. But that was the beginning. And Catherine and I had gone from Los Angeles on that cross-country trip. Eventually, we ended up back in New York City and lived there for a couple of years on Carmine Street. Nice little old American neighborhood, I tell you, really nice. So that was sort of what?
But Kathleen, we had just had a baby, and was touring colleges on the East Coast. And it worked out so perfectly. Albert said, come and stay in our little cabin. So John could spoke tour. He could go out and do the 3 or 4 shows over the weekends and then come back to us. And we just ended up loving the place. And I haven't regretted it for a second, except for a few icy falls.
We have time for just a few more questions, so please.
Yeah, I just wondered if you had ever considered making it a series, like 3 episodes, or because you said that you had 4 hours of footage, and all watching this, every time you came to the end, you went, oh no, give me more, give me more, give me more, and I thought more details, more. Was not bored for a second, and I just thought, for instance, I saw the Stax Records. They did a 3-part doc, and it was so terrific. And I just think this could do it. I mean, I just wondered if you had ever thought about that. Instead of cutting it down, maybe extending it.
Well,
more music, more details.
Okay, well, I have to say that I kind of think that 2 hours of John Sebastian, it's plenty. It's plenty.
And not if you take it in separate instances.
well, we did actually, when it was over. Good question. When it was over 2.5 hours, we actually did divide it in half. So that it would, each one would be 1 hour and 15 minutes, something like that. And for a long time, we thought of this as part 1 and part 2. In fact, in my editor, it's still part 1 and part 2, because if I put them all together, my machine really kind of bogs down. So what I do is I'll work on part 1 and I'll work on part 2, and when I'm all done with that, I'll put it together into one thing. But we did consider that.
Yes, we did.
But we
It's
got.
wonderful. It's wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
And another thing is that if we get it on public television, that's going to be.
It would be great to be on TV.
When you do a thing with public television, of course, they always tell you, and if you send us some money, we will also give you the 4-hour version of this thing.
That'll keep me busy, I'm saying.
And I do want to mention in our audience is Jim Della Croce, who's a producer in the film, but he's the one who started this project right around before COVID, and everybody getting certain kinds of illnesses during this whole thing, but we're glad that we got the thing finished. But Jim is the one who really started.
That's right, Jim.
Jim, stand up.
Take him out, Jim.
Hello, gentlemen. I have 2 statements to make. I'm back here. First of all, I want to thank the producer and the director for this lovely documentary. And the one question that I have is, John, you and the band, were you the model for the Monkees television show?
Oh, no. It's much worse than that. We were invited to participate in this moment. Man, it was terrible.
Did you actually audition? I had heard that they considered you as sort of a model of the band. They liked the.
I don't know if anybody ever thought, oh, we're going to imitate that. They were mainly imitating A Hard Day's Night.
Right.
Okay. So we were invited up to a meeting. I swear, I was done with that meeting in 5 minutes. Because I thought, oh man, I don't want to be the guy that has to learn tunes from somebody else, I can't remember shit anyway. So how am I gonna remember these tunes? I can remember my own tunes real easy. But they wanted me to, react to tunes that were simply more LA.
I actually just want to thank John, because I grew up in Greenwich Village. He was our local celebrity.
Wait a minute now.
Yeah.
You and I maybe go back further than anybody in this room.
Everybody, this is Rory Block.
I'm just.
I didn't want to interfere because I didn't have a question. No, I don't know if everybody here knows how generous and giving and kind. John has done more for me personally in my career than anybody else that I can think of. John, you might not remember.
No, I only said one thing. Somebody had hired you and said, "Oh, we're going to do like disco or something," and you. I remember you. I think you came to me at that point and said, "What the hell?" And I said, "Don't do any of that. Do exactly what you do. Rag the shit out of these people." Yes.
He put me on stage at Woodstock. You squeezed me. You were always there saying, "Let me get you on the stage." He produced 2 of my records. Catherine photographed 2 of my album covers. John gave me great advice. He would listen to my songs and he would say, "Why don't you write a bridge?" Probably don't remember saying that. There was always, you lent me guitars to record my albums when I didn't have a guitar. You have done more and been more generous in the music and as a human being than anybody that I know of. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Unfortunately, we have to wrap up, but we can continue the conversation outside. Chris, do you want to mention the next screenings?
Well, there's a couple things I want to mention. First of all, I want to thank the Woodstock Film Festival for making this happen today. The investment that they have made in the cinematic equipment here and in the promotion of it all has been incredible. So thank you very much for that. There's a couple of upcoming things. There is another screening of this film. I'm not sure that there's any tickets left tomorrow at White Feather Farm. And this weekend, on the 12th, John and Jimmy Vivino are appearing at Bethel Woods. And you should all go down there and see it.
Good.
And Roscoe, you're driving?
Yes.
Yes. Roscoe will be driving.
Roscoe's driving.
I will thank you all very much.
We hope you get on PBS. I hope there's an album with the PBS release. And are you going to go to festivals? What's happening?
Probably. I think we're looking now at some type of streaming. PBS is one of the options, and that's probably what we're going to do. But we'll keep everybody posted.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for coming.
And thank you, Woodstock.